Namaskar. We have two videos around this judge. This one is what he did in terms of the order, and there is another one on something else. We'll be coming to that in a few hours, so that's a separate video. Let's take a quick look at what is happening here. The Attorney General Pamela Bondi has overruled the judge, the federal judge, and we're going to talk about Boasberg, that's the name of the guy, what it is, and what are the consequences of this. This amounts to what is called as contempt of court, but there are also precedences that can be quoted and saying that the people that are being deported, and they are continuing to be deported, they are going to El Salvador, and maybe on their way to Venezuela. Some may be sent back to Venezuela too. But these are people of a particular gangster group called TDA, Tren De Aragua, and they have caused a lot of havoc in the United States. They took over, for example, apartment building complexes in Denver area, and they were terrorizing the people who were living there. So all these things are weighed into this decision to deport them, and the numbers are in the thousands. So the work of the Trump administration is cut out. Next, who is paying for all these things? What if the country from where they originated say, we won't give you the money? Then what happens? So a lot of things are beginning to now play out. Let's take a look at what this case has ensued so far and what are the things that are going to happen. So Attorney General Pam Bondi has said that the deportations will continue, and this is despite the federal judge's pause order. She cites the Alien Enemies Act, and this was supposed to have been somewhere in the late 18th century that it had been enacted, and they are quoting that one to say that these are people who are designated terrorists and they are illegal immigrants involved in criminal activity. And she also emphasized that they pose a national threat. This is something that has been, how should I say this thing, established by looking at various parameters. People remember one thing: Venezuela has in the recent past moved closer to China. And is this an elaborate plan on part of China? For example, they appear to be in much more control in Mexico than was originally thought. And whether it is Mexico or Venezuela or many other countries, Panama, for example, I told you about how 1 in 5 Panamanians appear to be of Chinese origin. And Panama is a small country, and everything around there is a Panama City, which is a tax haven, plus the Panama Canal. That is their industry, economy, and so on and so forth. And then from here, Chinese go and deport, or they go and become immigrants in Spain. So this is the shortcut they found, that you easily come into Panama, and after a few years in Panama, you can make use of the special treaty between Panama and Spain and become residents in Spain. And then once you are in Spain, you are in Western Europe. So a lot of things are happening of this kind, and we have to find out where this is going to stand. Let's take a look at what happened with that US District Judge. His name is James Boasberg. One thing you will see, all these questionable or contrarian judgments, if you will, are seeming to come down from Obama or Democrat appointed judges. One wonders why. See, one thing that we need to understand about the US judicial system. The US judicial system, the judges do say what is their political ideology. They are asked to, or they are at least expected to. And they say, okay, I'm Democratic leaning, I'm Republican leaning. But they are supposed to interpret the Constitution, the law of the land, and what is seen here is even a district level judge suddenly gives a national injunction. And these are all things that are not in the norm. And we showed you yesterday how the number of national injunctions issued by a lower level judge is all-time high when Trump administration is in power, whether it was the first term or now the second term. So there are lots of questions being asked. How is it that these people are ruling in a certain way? So is this person, James Boasberg, part of deep state? Does he have links with USAID? Does his family have links with USAID? All those questions that I'm asking now, I'm going to give you a separate video on which I'm going to answer those questions. And let's just stick to this topic of TDA, Tren De Aragua. Borders are, Tom Hanks has said, not Tom Hanks, Tom Homan, I beg your pardon, we are coming, I don't care what the judges think. Tom has been actually crisscrossing the country. He talked to people in Chicago, he talked to all these sanctuary cities, and saying that for as far as immigration is concerned, the cities don't have any rule, any authority. It is the federal government that monitors and executes everything to do with immigration. So what you are going to see more and more, even in LA, you saw a lot of arrests. In fact, in LA, you saw the other situation where some officials allegedly from DHS/FBI/ICE had actually leaked, and that helped many people escape. And the people who leaked were caught, and they are being punished now under law. So a lot of things are happening. People somehow, I thought it was only a small set of people who were doing this, but somehow now I'm seeing, aghast as a matter of fact, I'm aghast that many in United States are confusing their personal political leaning with their professional obligation. The two are totally separate. I don't know why. I mean, these are all literate people. They are there. Some of them are even, postgraduates from Ivy League universities. Which part of this don't you understand, guys? Sorry to get under your skin, but I'm really asking you, is this what your parents paid for you to go to? These are all difficult questions to answer. You live in this ideal world, idealist world, whatever you want to call it. The world is not like that. The world is a lot more shades of gray. And just because somebody says something, you get outraged, and then you say, okay, we should defund the police, and we should do this, we should do that. Excuse me. The things that I saw when that BLM movement was going on, people just turned very, very radical in a like a New York minute. And that was like, wow, how can you, just take one incident and then immediately change your complete mindset? It's not true. You have to be much more balanced. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So what is happening is that there is this tussle. Court, judiciary thinks that some of the things that the Trump administration doing is wrong, and they are trying to put the brakes. And invariably what we are seeing is a pattern here. The pattern appears to be that these are Democrat-leaning ideology-wise judges. And in fact, there's one other thing that has happened in the Social Security Administration that I had put out yesterday, how Elon Musk is cleaning up. There is another restraining order there also that has come. So once you cross this orders of judiciary and say, basically show your proverbial finger and start doing your own, then it's not going to stop now. Whatever it is, Trump is going to continue doing this thing. Also, remember, this is not something that is just isolated to Trump. Biden overruled the Supreme Court of the United States in the student loan case and said that I'm still going to go and waive them off because he wanted the student vote. So it's not one president or the other. This executive over judiciary, this is a battle that's been fought on many countries. Remember Shah Banu judgment? Remember Indira Gandhi overruling the Supreme Court on nationalization of banks? Look at what the status of banks are today. One can make that argument. One can also make the counter argument that because of nationalization, banks came to even rural areas. Otherwise, you would never have banks in rural areas. So there's a plus and minuses there. Although the thing is, the law of the land, who owns the law of the land? That question has been going back and forth. Now, when they give national injunctions, isn't that overstepping the rule for them also, for the judiciary? They can say, okay, from this particular jurisdiction, which is my jurisdiction, you cannot deport. But they always issue nationwide injunctions. How is it that everybody wants to issue nationwide injunctions? If you're not a Supreme Court judge, you're a district judge. I'm not a lawyer, but at least my common sense tells me that you can't have jurisdiction like that. I can't be the mayor of San Francisco and declare myself emperor of the universe It's a a very simplistic argument, but that's what this appears to be to me. Anyway, let's go to the next slide, please. Now, one interesting find has been Congressional Representative Harriet Hageman. Hageman actually defeated Cheney's daughter, Liz Cheney from Wyoming, and she has observed that only the president, according to Article 2 of the US Constitution, only the president holds executive power. No court may take over that role. No court may define or limit the scope of the duties of an official of the executive office of the president. Now, she has significant experience with constitutional law, with expertise in cases involving constitutional implications. I have her speech in the Congress. Let's take a look at that video, please.
Of the Constitution states that the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. In other words, it is the President that defines the executive branch. When you read this language, it says that no court may take over that role. No court may define or limit the scope of the duties of an official of the executive office of the President, the people who work in the executive office. I think that what your amendment does is a violation of separation of powers, and it's a violation of Article 2 of the Constitution.
Gentlelady, yield?
Yes, I will.
It's always good when the constitutionalist specialist comes in. It helps us all. So what you're saying is that the bill codifies Article 2 for purposes of the court being reminded and instructed of their limitations, and the amendment would undo that.
That's exactly right, because then
So we don't have to watch the entire speech that goes on for a few minutes. The point here is there is a new bill being introduced that codifies this and says that in such cases the judiciary does not have the jurisdiction, that the president can overrule the judiciary in specific instances. It might not go down well in the court of the people. Understand this, that is the delicate balance any elected official walks. If I do this thing, what will the people think? That's at the back of their minds all the time. So this is the interesting situation that we find ourselves in the United States. And in fact, I've heard rumors that President Trump is not happy at the pace with which the deportations are happening. Can we take a look at one website called howmanydeported.com? I think it was around 55,000, and the number to go be between 11 million to 21 million or 22 million, as a matter of fact. Howmanydeported.com and howmanydeported.com. We can take a look at that screen. Yeah, wonderful. Oh, the thing has gone up. Yesterday it was 55,000. Today it is 60,000. 60,676 deported. So you can see that if you go to this website every day, you can take a look at what is happening, and officially the number is 11 million, but Trump has said in various statements, and I agree with him on that, the number is much higher than this. We think it is 15 to 22 million, somewhere in that ballpark. This was wantonly, willfully done. I don't know whose pocket a certain official was in the previous administration. I won't take names, but you understand where it is. Because this is not the first time that PGurus has mentioned this. DGI was very extensively covering the illegal immigration that was allowed during the early days of the Biden administration. Okay, back to the slide deck, please. And is there any, I think there's one more slide. Okay, so what is the bigger picture here? Trump's administration plans more flights, more removals, and possibly legal confrontation with the judiciary. I just showed you the number, right? It has gone up by 5,000 since yesterday. And this could mean that there could be possible contempt charges at Attorney General Pamela Bondi. But if the president is inclined to agree with his Attorney General, these contempt charges amount to nothing. Essentially, that's why I told you about that speech in Congress, that there is a resolution that is being moved to explicitly tell how far the judiciary can go in issuing some of these judgments. But You will have more legal battles, and this is going to be a street to street fight kind of thing, and there will be a lot of outraging on both sides. Okay, so if they are now going after Pam Bondi and saying that, oh, she is this, she is that, she has done this in the past, she has done this in the, the same thing happens on the Republican side also. They are going to look at the judges and say, okay, this judge has this particular connection, he has done this in the past. So we can take off the slide deck. Whichever side you take, the truth is that America as a country is becoming more and more divisive. And I'm afraid in 10 to 20 years, if things don't patch up, the moderate Democrats and the moderate Republicans come together, they take control of their parties and say, look, we are a great nation only as long as we stay united. And if not, there are many big powers willing to exploit the fault lines. And in fact, this same thing goes for India also. Congress needs to wake up and smell the coffee. Their sugar daddies are all gone now, and they get time to get rid of the first family and get some good sound leadership in their party also. And that's how democracy will thrive. Otherwise, it's a huge problem. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Wait a minute. Let me have some questions. Sorry about that. Let's take the questions. Anil Patil wants to know, sir, it's true that today's kids gain a little more in technology studying in US, putting most of their parents' earnings at risk? It should reach the highest level in India and deliver their talents here. Anil, India has done one fantastic thing, that they have allowed Airtel and Jio and now Starlink to deploy connectivity across the country. You could have a child in a freezing Ladakh temperatures, but if they have Starlink connectivity, they will be able to connect to the internet. So as this becomes more prevalent, what I see is something similar to the American Academy that the President of United States, Trump, has mooted, to have something similar to that in India also. Indian Academy, where it could be Bharat Academy, where online courses are available. And the way in which this can be taught as a curriculum on which you can have grades and you can also have degrees. Knowledge is knowledge. Once you gain it, it stays in your mind. Nobody can take it away. So this is the way, this is the trend of the future. You will not have colleges where people will come. They may be having something like a monthly gathering or something like that to just get to know who the student body is, because you can cheat. You understand where I'm coming from. So these things will happen, but that is how I think the trend is going to be. Then you are not limited by anything. You can go and read. You can learn from any course in anywhere across the world to understand the technology. I mean, that is true even today. Magnet Ranga wants to know, seems like a lot of dirt has been hidden while giving total presidential pardons. Can Trump overrule some of the pardons, at least in serious cases? I don't know the answer to that, Magnet Ranga. I think this could also be one of the things that go to the Supreme Court of the United States, especially if they can find some egregious conduct. For example, anti-national, treasonous conduct. And if they can find that, maybe it might be difficult to, maybe the pardon could be taken back. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, and this is something that's beyond my grasp. However, things can be challenged in a court of law. Next one, please. Ameya Rupal wants to know, hello Sree, tyranny of unelected has reached its peak in all liberal democracies. Today, Israel Supreme Court stopped Bibi from removing head of Shin Bet. What steps should be taken to stop this overreach? Situation like this happens when the elected don't have a comfortable working majority, whether it is Bibi Netanyahu or Narendra Modi. And even Trump, because his working majority in Congress is like wafer thin. Two Republican congressmen / women can hold the whole country to ransom, saying that we won't go with you. So they are doing a lot of juggling, a lot of arm wrestling back in the back rooms to make sure that people who are Republicans vote Republican. Forget about Democrats. So this is going to be happening. So what is the message here? People need to give clear verdicts. Don't give this wishy-washy verdicts where you will vote for someone because he belongs to your community. You will vote for someone because he belongs to your religion. You have to always take a more holistic approach. Who is best suited to serve the community? Not you, your family. That's what it is today, unfortunately, because all these leaders think that it is their birthright to have their children also follow them in their footsteps. Sometimes not even follow, but create more branches and more opportunities, and everybody is out looting and plundering people. That needs to stop. To a certain extent, the automation in United States and India stops corruption. But look at what happened in Ukraine. We are going to come up with some numbers with Mohan Sonti. You see that and you will be outraged. The US taxpayer will be outraged to see how much more money the West spent in defending Ukraine, and where did all that money go? I'll give you the numbers when we have that particular conversation. Next one, please. Rational Human wants to know, what does it mean by deleting old H-1B visa applications and how it will work going forward? I have not done research on this, Rational Human. I will find out and I'll let you know. Next one, please. 𝗤𝗡𝗙𝗍 wants to know, Sree, if such a provision is there to overrule a judge, many such overruling is possible, whether justifiable or otherwise. Your views? Absolutely right. That balance can be only achieved by presidents who are balanced in their judgment. And if you want presidents to be balanced in your judgment, then you need to pay attention to who is contesting for presidency right from the primaries level. And it doesn't matter which state he is running for primary. You in your state, you need to do the evaluation and say, okay, I like this person's ideas, I like this person's thought, approach, or A, B, C, or something like that. And you have your own mental list, because by the time the primaries come to your state, some of them may be still in the race, and you should go and vote. Many states you can vote. Or even go and caucus, and you can look at the number of people who are caucusing. They're only in the hundreds, but the United States population is 335 to 340 million. So you can definitely do that. A little bit more participation in the political process is what I want every one of us to do. Next one, please. Chirantan Saha wants to know, Trump administration deports many immigrants even as judge orders their removal to be stopped. Can a US president overrule a US federal judge? Well, this is what the whole show was about, Chirantan. You saw what was being discussed in the Congress. So we'll wait and see how this plays out. I think that was the last question. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful session talking to you and answering your questions. And we'll be back again shortly. Namaskar.